Welcome back to Let Me Know If You Need a Podcast. Today's guest is someone whose work and story have reshaped the way communities respond to grief and healing. We're joined by Mindy Corporon, VP of Strategic Development for Love Always, co-founder and board member of 7Days Make a Ripple, Change the World, CEO of Workplace Healing, and the author of Healing a Shattered Soul. Today, we dive into what showing up actually looks like when life really falls apart, and the small ripples of kindness that can carry us forward. Mindy's journey is a testament to what becomes possible when pain meets purpose and when a community chooses love over hate. Get ready. You're going to feel this one. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Let Me Know If You Need a Podcast. Today, Kristen and I are sitting down with Mindy Corporon. She is currently the Vice President of Strategic Development for Love Always. She is the co-founder and on the current board of 7Days Make a Ripple, Change the World. And she's the CEO of Workplace Healing. And if that wasn't enough, she has also authored a book, which is called Healing a Shattered Soul. Mindy has an amazing story, and we cannot wait to talk to her. So welcome, Mindy.
Welcome. We're so excited to have you.
Thank you. Hi, Amy. Hi, Kristen.
Hi.
Hello.
So a little background, Mindy and I connected. I was looking at people that could potentially give us a little more insight into kind of like how employers should be dealing with people going through grief or going through a hard time. And so I found her on LinkedIn. And then once I found her, she told me about all these other roles she has, which seem to be endless and are very impressive. But what I wanted to start with, so the listeners can kind of understand where you're coming from, is tell us kind of your journey, right? Like from way back and how you got into this space, which is something I think everyone, it kind of puts you in the right perspective for people to understand where you're coming from.
Okay, thank you. I won't start from the day I was born. I won't start there.
Yes.
Sometimes I tease people when they say that. And then I say, well, on August 5th, 1968.
Way back. Yep.
My grief journey began on April 13th, 2014. And my husband and I and our two boys were living in Overland Park, Kansas, actually Stillwell, if anyone knows Stillwell, Kansas.
Mm-hmm.
And our boys were freshmen in high school and a sixth grader in middle school at the time. And on Palm Sunday, which was April 13th, my father and our oldest son were murdered by a white supremacist at the Jewish Community Center. And that shattered our soul. It shattered our world. It shattered everything about our lives, our family, and that is how I came to be in the grief space. In that same time, I was the co-founder and CEO of a wealth management firm. Mm-hmm. So my entrepreneurial spirit started many, many years ago, and that was one of the avenues. And I loved my role in wealth management. I loved and valued my clients. Actually, more importantly, I loved and valued the employees and the team that I had created alongside my business partner. But I knew within about 6 months that I wasn't going to be able to stay there.
Yeah.
Possibly because it was just wealth management, because of the stress and the pressure. Just a lot of things said to me, you're not going to be in this space. One of which I think the Holy Spirit spoke to me in particular one evening actually in the middle of the night and said, your life's changing and you need to be more prepared for your life to change. So it did. So I left wealth management in 2018, and that placed me in the position to start Workplace Healing.
Very nice. So I want to ask you a question. You said you had this, premonition or visit that said your life is changing. Do you feel like your life has changed? And for the better, like, do you feel like you're doing your passion work now? Or is this your calling? Like, do you feel that you're in the space? Because I think a lot of women I talk to a lot of women that are my close friends, and they're maybe in their 30s, or I'm sorry, not 30s, I wish. They're in their 40s and, coming to 50s. And a lot of us are very successful, but we're not necessarily like fulfilled with our work, right? So we made this path. So do you feel that the change that came to you is fulfilling?
Yes. And what I was doing was very fulfilling. So I was in a very fulfilling position and role, and I had so much opportunity to help women and men come alongside me. I really valued caring for our team and our clients. We built it from the ground up. I mean, I just absolutely loved it. And the event, the tragedy of losing my dad and son just shattered everything. It literally tears you apart, and you have to rebuild yourself. And I tried to rebuild myself and be in that same space. But at that moment in time, my heart was not in it. Just to be really specific about one example of what does that mean? Why was her heart not in it? I could not have I couldn't sit in a meeting with clients that I loved and appreciated and had been with for years and hear them talk about their children not being able to go to college.
Yeah.
I just couldn't do it anymore. And as the CEO and as a very thoughtful leader, I had my CEO hat on and looked at myself and said, you should not be in this position. I did not have the compassion to help our clients like a CEO who I was would want me to. So I saw myself as the advisor and said, you wouldn't want one of your employees doing this right now. So, so I made the decision as a CEO and told myself as the advisor, you can't be in that role anymore. You need to figure out what to do. So I was very fulfilled. And now I am fulfilled.
Good.
There have been lots of times and exhausting days when I wonder, what am I doing now? And what can I do better? And et cetera. But that's partly of who I am and who my DNA is. So, but I'm definitely very fulfilled right now. And that's going to be exciting to talk to you about Love Always and how the pieces of my life have culminated so far to what I'm doing now, which is such a rich opportunity for me to help create this with our current team for the rest of the world.
Yeah, that's great. So I want to culminate in Love Always, but let's talk a little before about that, kind of how because you founded Workplace Healing, and that was similar to kind of your wealth management role, and then also the tragedy experience and trying to bring that together. And what was your vision with that, or what still is your vision as you work on it?
Yes. So the reason CEO of Workplace Healing is still in my title is that while the software platform and our resources, I would say, are dormant, I think about them often, and the company itself is still legally open. Lisa Cooper and I founded that together. We're co-founders, and she stepped away in 2024. We didn't meet revenue goals. It didn't launch as well as we wanted it to. I've gotten much better at saying that without wanting to vomit about it.
I know it's very
stomach. It's hard to fail. It's hard. No one wants to fail, but there are different reasons why it did, and that's not what this podcast is about. But it's still in my mind and it's in my heart. And I have 2 other board members, and we get together on a quarterly basis and have conversations about, it really wasn't the right time for Workplace Healing.
Yeah.
But now it looks like it could be. And so I am keeping my eyes and ears and heart open for what does that path look like. More employees, our businesses are looking for, instead of just talking about empathy and talking about helping others, what you've decided to create and why is in such alignment with what we were working on in 2018.
Yeah.
And it's almost like it was too early. People weren't ready for it. So if they're ready for it, then we or I, actually, it's just me right now.
Yeah.
Myself, we might be able to make that launch again. So that's what Workplace Healing is right now.
Yeah, I agree with you though.
I'm sorry, I didn't even explain what we really did. Our mission,
yeah, that's
and our
true.
goal.
Good idea.
I'm like, our mission and our goal of Workplace Healing are to educate employers about onboarding employees after they've had a grief event.
Yes.
And so we all have grief events, and employers, if they don't say anything, which is typical, or they don't give a lifeline to that griever, then that griever is 60% more likely to leave their employment and go have their story somewhere else.
Yeah.
And so that was our focus and how to do it. And you all are very aligned with that.
I mean, I don't even know how I came across those statistics before, but you're hearing more about it now. Like you said, it might be closer to the right time, right? Because you're hearing more about things, how like flexible work schedules can be very helpful to people like in grief or in major life event. And like you said, if an employee, I think, now knows that if their employer is not going to support them, they can probably find somewhere that will. So, or they can find something more flexible that's going to work for them, and that's, it can be grief. It can be, they have to now care for a parent, which is like everyone in our generation at this point. So
caregiving offers its own level of grief.
Yeah.
When your life changes suddenly, we called it life disruptions. When someone has a life disruption, because it could be divorce, caregiving, your child all of a sudden has an inability, your spouse has an inability, you become a caregiver, and your life changes, and you have to work, you're working, and you're trying to balance it. And anyway, that's where workplace healing was coming into that space with my lived experience as being a griever and a CEO at the same time, and I was really trying to help the C-suite see the enormity of the cost of ignoring grief in the workplace.
Yeah. Fascinating.
So, and you don't have to answer this, Mindy, but do you feel like when you were going through your grief, obviously you were the boss lady, but like, did you give yourself a permission to grieve the way you wanted to grieve during all of that tragedy or like, how did that all shape out, if you don't mind sharing? And again, you don't have to share if you don't want to.
Yeah, I felt at the time that I was doing as much as I needed to for myself. I really think I did. So for instance, on Thursday mornings, I wouldn't get into the office until 9:30 because I would go to the Wesley Chapel at Church of the Resurrection and cry from 7 to 8:30. So I would go and journal and cry an entire year. I did that for a year. We were a very small company. There were 13 of us, and I was an advisor that was expected to travel and meet with clients. And that became incredibly difficult for a variety of reasons, one of which was that our 12-year-old son thought that I might not come home.
Yeah.
So there are other circumstances around losing a family member when you look at who's inside the household and how it affects them. And when I would leave, on more than one occasion, Lucas at that time said, "Mom, don't get shot." And so that just kind of stops you in your tracks. And so I really started thinking about where would I need to spend my time, and how would I need to do that? Now, on the other hand, Kristen, for myself to heal, I poured myself into, so any waking moment that I was not in the office, and probably more hours when I was in the office, but just to be able to stay there physically, I had to be thinking about and working on how can we improve our world so that other people don't suffer a hate crime. So I poured myself into, within a few months, starting to create 7Days, the nonprofit.
Yes.
And, and that became a detriment to my workload because I valued so much the healing process of working on this new passion that I just had to have to heal my heart, to try to heal my heart, and then family. And so it was difficult to balance. So I think so many things with my leaving Boyer Corporation Wealth Management went as well as they could on my side. Of course, looking back, are there things I could have done or said differently, or they could have done or said differently? Yes. But I'm still a client, and we're still friends, and I value very much, who they are and what they do for clients. And I'm so proud that they still exist and are really, rocking it. And
that's great. So that brings us into 7 days. And I think if you can explain, how do you make the leap from this grief space that you're in, that I imagine would be extremely overwhelming, to almost the opposite, right? Which is kindness. And how did you get to that space? Where was that first? I think when we were talking about how we talk about, I said, like, how was that first ripple? Or like, what do you remember what first triggered that for you?
So, gosh, let me think. There are a couple of things that got me to 7 days. And the very first ripple would have been when I found my dad and me in the parking lot. So I found them at the Jewish Community Center. I was there before the police and the ambulance, and there were two men who had run to help whoever had been shot. Like, they heard gunshots and they ran to them, and they saw that my dad was deceased, and they pulled Reet, my son, out of the truck, and they were trying to save him. And they knew that there was still a live shooter in the area.
Mm-hmm.
So witnessing that was the first ripple to me, was that there was a courageous act of kindness on behalf of someone that they didn't know. They were trying to save his life. And then they were trying to save my life because they didn't know where the shooter was, and they were trying to protect me. So that was the very first thing that, and I didn't understand that they, quote, been murdered. Like, you just can't comprehend anything in the moment when that happens. And so as it unfolded and we learned that the shooter was a white supremacist and that it was a hate crime, I didn't want to hate. I purposely did not want to hate. He had hated his whole life. He had been a very dark, negative person his entire life. And he wanted his legacy to be murdering Jews. And he murdered three people who were not of the Jewish faith, but he murdered people because of his hate. And so I did turn on a dime and say, I'm not going to hate. I'm going to choose not to hold hate. And then the other catalyst and ripple was a friend from wealth management. His name is Herb Bookbinder. And in the Kansas City area, he is known as the best fundraiser for anybody. And he called me and he said, Mindy, he's Jewish. And he said, Mindy, the Jews are going to create an event next year. We're going to create an event. That's what we do. We memorialize our, things that happen in life, and we're going to create an event. Do you want to be part of that? And I said, yes. So he pulled me kind of out of a path I wasn't sure where I was going. And then several of us came together collectively and started creating what would end up becoming 7 days.
Okay. Let Me Know If You Need a Podcast is sponsored by Gift Well Soon. Do you have a friend who needs help but is too overwhelmed to ask for it? Let Gift Well Soon do the asking for them. Gift Well Soon, the care registry for life's toughest moments.
Now, can you share with the listeners what's 7 days and what are you all about, and give us all the good juice?
Yeah, the good juice is that 7 days make a ripple, change the world. Our mission is to overcome hate by promoting kindness and understanding through education and dialogue. And we have become a platform for kindness and a platform of kindness. And what that means is we deliver that with teenagers. So we have a kindness youth leadership team, and they are high school students, freshmen through senior in high school. And right now it's only based in the Kansas City metropolitan area. And we help mentor the students. We have a school year program for them. And they just put on a really fantastic event called Thrive with Kindness, which they hosted on World Kindness Day. We have mentors come and speak with them. People from throughout the city will come and speak with them about, adulting, going to college, and, how are you kind at the same time. So everything has to do with empathy and kindness and compassion, but also, real life things. How do you have a crucial conversation at school with another fellow student or a teacher? We give them an opportunity to start leading from where they are. We give them tasks and event planning options. And we have 7 ripples, or seven themes that are ripples: love, discover, others, connect, you, go, onward. So those are our themes, our values, and our Kindness Youth Leadership team takes those values into their school, and they host 7 days. They'll host 7 days of kindness in their school. So that's what we do at 7 days. And then
So cool.
In terms of being a platform for kindness, we also offer scholarships to high school seniors who create an act of kindness on their own, and then they write an essay about it, and we have judges who judge, and we have had the most eloquent, funny, unique, innovative types of kindness activities that they can all be found on our website. We've offered these scholarships over the last, it's been 10 years, over the last 9 years, and then we have an art competition, and it's also for high school students, and they create our artwork for our themes. So they think about those themes, and then they think about kindness related to them, and artists can submit their rendition. So we are a platform of and for kindness.
I love that. I love the art element too. So beautiful.
How do the kids, like, if, let's say I'm in North Kansas City and I have a soon to be high schooler, how do they get involved? Is that through the school, or they can reach out directly? They
reach out directly. So they would go to 7days.org. It's SEVENDAYS.org, and look for, I think it's under resources, or maybe how to get involved. And then it'll say students, and it'll show them that they can apply to be a Kindness Youth Leadership team member, and or the scholarship application is there, and the art application is there. And those applications are not due until December 12th. And then maybe in January. One's December 12th and one's in January.
I feel like we need this for adults. It's like, man, I was at the grocery store the other day and I wanted to say to a woman, "Are you okay? Like, who hurt you?" We need a kindness movement for grown-ups as well.
So I want to talk about Love Always. Before I do that, though, we always try to talk about when you're in a space, what was one of the things that helped you get through? How did people support you? Is there anything you can remember from that time of deep grief, or even the years that followed? Obviously, having someone reach out to you to move you into a nonprofit space seems like it was a lift. But is there anything in like small moments that you're like, man, that was not the usual, right? Because the usual is, let me know if you need anything, and then texting like, are you okay? And like, which is fine. That's what people are used to. But we try to open people's eyes to different ways that maybe have helped that you don't think of.
Yes. I love what you all are doing, the Gift Well Soon. I love that. So yes. And I can remember so many things because I wrote a book about them. So,
yes.
All of my ideas at the moment when I wrote that book are in the book, Healing a Shattered Soul. But my favorite go-to to let people know of what to immediately take to someone if you're like, I've got to go to their house, like I'm a close enough person, I'm going to go to their house, is to take paper products and plasticware, toilet paper, paper towels, and baggies, trash bags, for the extra casserole. Because those are
always
things
extra casserole.
Those are things that are going to run out. I mean, if a lot of people are showing up, you're going to run out of cups, ice, toilet paper. Nobody wants to be out of toilet paper.
Yeah.
So
no one wants to go get it.
Right. So that's one of my recommendations that somebody brought in. And so
I love that.
So Debbie Neiman, who is in Kansas City and has had grief in her life, and she walked in with this huge box full of paper products.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's perfect. And then I've passed that on as an option. So that helped. The other thing that helped, and these were people that came to my house, and, I don't even want to say they were close enough to come in, because they were, and they might not have ever been at my house before, but people showed up. And people just, they would, after about 4 days, I had to start eating real food. And they said, what do you think you can eat right now? Like, what can you stomach? And I said, shrimp. Like, that was the first thing that came to mind.
Yeah.
And so Dean and DeLuca was still open. And Kathy Kaler went to Dean and DeLuca and got me like a shrimp cocktail and I think a chocolate bar. And I had shrimp and chocolate. And she basically fed me. She took the tails off and she fed me so that I would eat. So it does go from that to having someone, people would drive Lucas places. They would drive Lucas to school. One time Lucas left his sweatshirt at the school and he came home and was upset and crying because he wanted his sweatshirt, and someone left the house and took him back to school and got it. I just looked at him blankly like, really? I can't do anything right now.
Yeah. Yes.
So those are a few things. Now from afar, what people did was one young lady and her parents bought Reet a star. So there's a star after Reet. Yeah. And that's just a really wonderful gesture. They came to the house. They said, here's the packet of information. We bought him a star. And that was amazing and lovely. The other advice that I like to give is when we have lost someone, okay, it sounds crass. They're gone.
Yeah.
They're not coming back.
Right.
And everything doesn't have to be at once.
Right.
So the first 3 months, you're inundated. And so the hard parts are when you're not. And you need those extra people, to say, I really wanted to show up in that first week, but I didn't. And so I'm going to show up in, month 6.
Yeah.
So on the 6th anniversary, I'm going to knock on their door and I'm going to say, I'm thinking of you and here's a coffee, or can you go do this? And so 6 months and a year and their birthdays and holidays. So everything doesn't have to be done in the first 10 days.
God, I love that advice to people. It's something that's often overlooked in times of loss. It's like grief kind of never goes away. And to your point, once they're gone, and you're around to feel it. So I think that's great showing up for people post loss. Yeah.
So tell us about what's happening now. Love Always. What is that about, and what do we need to know? How are you going to change the world with that?
Yeah, so Love Always. So I'm not the founder and I'm not the president. I'm the VP of strategic development. I love being in this role. I'm not responsible for the legal documents.
Yeah.
That's very nice. Or the financial statements. So I love that. And I get to be very creative. So Love Always, the concept is that we are a commons space. It's a software platform that is a common space for the public, but it's for private interactions. And so what my job is, what we're creating, and what my job is to bring in trusted and authentic participants. So think vendors. It's like a marketplace. Think vendors. And because we're talking mostly about grief, we'll talk about grief. Yep. So what I'm looking at is finding resources and participants who will be trusted and authentic for a griever who comes in the space looking for support. So there's a lot of scattered support. Workplace healing was out there. You all are out there. You all just went to and visited Grieftastic.
Yeah, tons of options. Yep.
Yeah, and
where do you go?
Where do you go? What do you do? And so what I get to do is gather who I think are, and we think as a company, are very relevant. And one of the things I'm doing is that because I've been a griever, I'm focusing on ensuring that child loss is covered, that death by suicide, spousal loss, grief in caregiving, pet loss. So I'm looking for participants, these vendors who will help. And I hesitate when I say the word vendor, but I think for the sake of the podcast and clarity that I want to use that term. It's not about being transactional. What we want someone to step into our space, Love Always, and realize that they're exploring, they're looking for trusted advice. And it may be just advice, it may be a book, it may be resources or a podcast or a journal. And all of those things may come to them free of charge. And but they also might need to purchase something. But the transactions can happen, but we're leading with empathy and compassion and love always.
Yeah. So basically the user that is in a grief space comes there and can feel that they don't have to worry about sorting through all the options.
Correct.
So they're in the right place. You've vetted it for them.
We are vetting the options. We are ensuring that they won't get upsold. They won't get marketed. They won't get a slew of other email communication. They will be a Love Always client. It's called our Love Always promise, that we want them to know that we have already vetted, trusted, and authentic participants who will help them through their process. And that's our goal. And again, I focused on grief. There are two journeys right now. One journey is the emotional wellness journey, and another journey is in the financial legal space. And then underneath those journeys are 7 different categories. And so
cool.
This is going to be a very large platform and really broad and deep with a variety of different participants who can help, like you said, the user or the client who comes in. So estate planning, digital vaults. There are a lot of digital vaults. I've been vetting digital vaults lately. And, so what happens after death with your social media footprint or your social footprint? And there are companies out there that can help you now while you're living be prepared at your death, like what happens to your social footprint if you have that. So let alone our hard assets like a car or a house, maybe a pet, what happens with them, but what happens with our social footprint. So there's a lot that has to happen as we go through life and have mature events. And our goal is to help support through that with trusted and authentic participants.
Oh, thanks for doing all the hard work. That's great. I love outsourcing that stuff.
I wake up every day. I tell people I am so happy. So I'm bringing in my wealth management experience because I'm talking to financial advisors and wealth advisors and estate planning attorneys and pulling them into the space. So I speak their language and I understand that. I understand how to build a company. I understand software platform. I clearly understand grief.
Yes.
And it's just been really fantastic. I'm very happy in my space right now.
That's great. How did you get to that space? Did someone find you or did you? I'm just wondering because it seems that all the stars have aligned. Yes.
Yes. Yes. And I say yes and a lot. So I think that's so important for people to say yes. And I would say that to grievers as well. And I should have said that during what did people do for you? I said yes. And they did something. So part of it is as a griever, I highly recommend that people learn to say yes. Just yes. Do you need this? Yes. Do you need this? Yes. Can I help with this? Yes. So what I said to people around me was, I'm looking for something still in this space. It's not exactly aligned with workplace healing, but I really want to stay and be in the grief genre. I felt like that was very important. And yes, so a mutual friend knew that they were creating this platform, and he's on an advisory board for them. He knows the parent company, and they were talking about who they wanted and what was needed. And he said, I think I know the right person that will fit into this. So I interviewed for the president's position. And I didn't get it, and I was disappointed because I thought, they want me to be the president. They want me to lead this. This sounds fantastic, and I can do that. And I got the call that I was not hired for that, and I was disappointed. And then, which is normal. And then, and then they said, well, we really want you to meet with the guy that we hired in that position because we still want you to be part of it. And I said, okay, I'm game. And so he and I talked. And he said, I'm not sure why they didn't hire you. And I said, that's okay. I said, you know what?
You're like, yeah, I know.
I think for you. No, he's been fantastic. So the president is Michael Waite, and he knows the story. I told him the same thing. We had our first call, and I said, I wanted your job. And I feel like I'm in the right position. So I'm very happy that they chose him for a variety of reasons and different skills and different experience. His experience is vastly different from mine in the business world, which I think is phenomenal. And then I come to it, from the experiences that we've talked about. And so I think that they did a wonderful job. And our parent company is Homesteaders Life. They created us, and they put us in place. And so there are 4 or 5 of us. There are 5 of us on the team now.
How cool.
Yes.
Yes. So let's see. I think I have 2 more questions. What would be your one recommendation of a small act that a listener might be able to do, as soon as they hang up from the podcast, that they could go out and spread some kindness? What do you think is the easiest thing?
Well, the smallest act the smallest act is probably to write on a Post-it note to someone in your household that you love and care about them very much. And if you raise your voice at them, let them know maybe that you didn't mean it, or why you did, or that you were sorry, and that you love them anyway.
Let me just get my Post-it notes out because I raise my voice a lot. Just
Get a drawer here.
Yes.
And love always. You text someone and say, "I'm thinking about you today." If you are, when someone comes to your heart, I believe that is, you can call it the energy, you can call it the Holy Spirit, you can call it intuition. I tend to call it the Holy Spirit and my energy speaking to me, and I will text them. And so again, those are super easy, and they don't cost anything, and they hardly even cost time, but they put a lot of warmth into your own heart as a giver, and then they also transition warmth to that other person. So I would think those are like the simplest things to do.
Yeah.
And you don't even have to go out.
In this weather, thank you. I love that. And then we always end with, what is your favorite comfort food? Or
So
you can do your own take on that.
Well, you obviously shrimp and the chocolate bar was
that's
what
the
you needed at
infamous.
that moment.
Yeah.
But, you wear many hats, so you can also share your stress food as well.
Yes. So when you said, I shared with you before the podcast, I thought, oh gosh, what am I going to say about comfort food? My stress food is a Sonic cheeseburger and tater tots and a vanilla Coke.
Mm-hmm.
So when I start knowing that I want that, I know I am.
You're in the drive-thru at Sonic and you're like, I need to check myself.
Yes, I'm in the drive-thru at Sonic. So I grew up on Sonic. In Marlow, Oklahoma, Sonic was one of our staples. And
Yeah.
but now I consider that that's a stress. But comfort food for me would be a spinach casserole that we make in the family. We make this amazing spinach casserole. So I think of that. And then just favorite foods. I love a steak. I mean, I'm a carnivore, so I love a really good medium rare filet. That's
delicious.
That and some spinach
casserole on the side.
We'll have to get that recipe.
I know. I want to know what the spinach casserole recipe is. I'm picturing like spanakopita vibes. Is it like that? Which isn't that like where it's got like the phyllo and the spinach and the feta? No, it's not that.
No phyllo.
I need to know what that recipe is.
Yeah, we'll put that.
Okay, well, I'm on the completely wrong track.
Yeah, it's you start with frozen spinach, and then you boil it and cook it and squeeze all the liquid out of it, and then you add cream of mushroom soup and Parmesan cheese, and it's
oh, okay. I think I have a better visual now.
It's so simple.
Yeah, that is simple.
So my mom says, well, we grew up poor. When my mom and dad got married, my brother was born fairly soon, and I was born pretty soon after that. And my dad was not a practicing physician until I was 3. So they had a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old through medical school.
Yeah.
And so we were poor. So we did a lot of casseroles. So casseroles were very comforting to me. And we did casseroles and that type of thing because it was all the leftovers that you could put together.
Yeah.
And then sprinkle Parmesan cheese on it and bake it and call it food.
And you usually have like that Campbell's can of some sort, cream of mushroom, cream of chicken. Yep. Yeah,
yes.
That's good.
Oh, thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
It's a good memory.
So I love my childhood foods. So I would say those are and a good steak.
They are. Yeah, they are comfort. If you have that kind of a childhood, it's wonderful to be able to go back to that. Well, I am so grateful for you for sharing, and we wish you all the best. And
you're doing the good work. Thank you for that.
Thank you. Well, I love what you all are doing. I went to your website, looked at your website again to look at things. I have a friend who recently had a double mastectomy. And so I've texted another woman who should know more than I do about how she's doing.
Yep.
And I was looking at your website to see, okay, what might I be getting her?
Yeah. Well, if she needs anything, I've been there. As I say on some of the other podcasts, if she ever needs to talk to anybody, I've been through that too. So we all need to support each other.
Yes, we do.
All right.
Thank you all for what you're doing as well.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you so much for joining us for the conversation today with Mindy Corporon. Her story is a reminder that grief is not something we fix. It's something we learn to walk with. and that even the smallest act of kindness can change the trajectory of someone's darkest day. If today's episode moved you, please share it with someone who might need a little hope or a reminder that they're not alone. And if you want to keep the conversations going, make sure to follow, subscribe, and connect with us at lmkpod.com. Until next time, I would ask you to please do something nice for someone. And, of course, let me know if you need anything.